What is going on, everybody? Today we are back with a amazing origin story. Today we have somebody on who is going to share his story about battling addiction, about coming up from the bottom and taking it all the way to the top and then back down again. Somebody who has grown a wholesale business to millions of dollars a year in less than 24 months. And that man today is Mr. Eric Cline. Thank you so much for giving us your most valuable resource, which is your attention, and then your most second valuable resource is sharing your story. And so super excited to hear it, super excited to share it with the audience today. And so again, remember guys, this is a live show. So if you guys have questions, please start dropping questions down for Eric as we go along, and we'll be sure to answer those by the end of this podcast. So Sam, if you don't mind, let's get us rocking and rolling today, my friend.
Absolutely, Logan. Thank you so much. Eric, again, thank you so much for making the time to be here. You and I met for the first time in Phoenix maybe about 2 months ago at the All In event that was hosted by Carlos Ray. It was a phenomenal event. And, I always like to go to these events. And my number one thing that I want to find is phenomenal human beings to connect with after. And the first time I heard you introduce yourself to us as a group of people, you were extremely raw and uncut with what you were presenting, with who you are. And the number one thing that stood out to me is how freaking genuine it was. And I was like, okay, well, there's an audience, there's a group, maybe he's playing it up a little bit. And then you and I had a very short encounter. We connected a little bit after that. I connected with you and your partner, Tony. And then I quickly realized, oh my God, these guys they live this. This is who they really are. And then probably more importantly to that, in my opinion, is the fact that you guys just welcomed me with open arms. You guys are just phenomenal human beings. So to be able to spend this time with you is just phenomenal, brother. Thank you so much for being here. And the whole point of the origin story is Logan and I believe in this mantra, and that's that Lamborghinis and mansions and stacks of cash are phenomenal and they motivate people, but people who are just getting started, they need something more relatable to inspire them to action. Yeah. And one of the things that my mentor Pace Morby taught me is that people need stories. They need the struggles. They need the journeys. They can relate to being a single mom working 20 hours, every other day, right? Or being on food stamps and welfare. And there's a lot in your story that I know people are going to be able to connect with. And the most importantly, I want to highlight to them that they can go through that and they can come out on the other side and be a massive success, just like you are today. So brother, again, thank you so much for being here. Get us started.
Yeah, man. Appreciate both you guys for having me on. Where do I even start? So I always say, like, hey, man, if my language offends some people, my apologies. I might drop a couple F-bombs in here. It's just who I am. But my name is Eric Cline. I currently reside in Raleigh, North Carolina right now with my wife, my son. My daughter literally just left today to go back to Florida to FSU. I got a 9-year-old getting ready to be 10-year-old son. And then my daughter's 20. She goes to FSU. And then I came here from South Florida, 41 years old. And if I bring it all the way back to at the age of 13, I was in a middle-class family. I grew up in a broken home, right? My dad was a raging alcoholic. I had an older brother, a younger brother, and I was in the middle. And from a very, very young age, I did not feel a part of my own family. For whatever that reason may have been. My older brother was a jock. Him and my dad got along really well. My younger brother, which I love to death, he's gay. He was a mama's boy, and I was in the middle, just honestly a disaster. And at 13 years, I remember at 13 years old was the first time I ever drank, did anything, and I blacked out the first time I ever drank. And it was the best feeling I could have ever have felt at that time, because I was able to mask all the feelings that I had. Reason I bring that up, from 13 to 28 years old, I was heavily heavily addicted to pretty much any drug that you can think of. The drug that brought me to my knees at 28 years old, which I was doing this, I was smoking crack for 6 years. And it was a drug I said I would never do. I started smoking crack at like 22 years old. And for 6 years, man, I literally was such a lost individual in this world. And the last time I had used, I was renting a room from, and not to mention, I was blackballed from, I was a union carpenter at the time, blackballed from every single company. I was not employable. My family disowned me. They disowned me because they couldn't have me around anymore. They knew if I was around, I was stealing something from them or I was trying to get something from them. So they quit celebrating holidays with me and stuff like that. But at 28, I was on an 8-day run. I had not slept in 8 days and I was locked in a room and I was so fucked up. I couldn't even leave the bedroom I was in. I was pissing in the corner of a room on bath towels because I was that fucked up. I was too paranoid to walk out of a door of a bedroom across the hallway because I thought people were after me. And mind you, if you don't sleep for 8 days, you are a crazy motherfucker after 8 days of no sleeping. I was trying to force myself to go to bed just so I could get high again because I was so fucking high. Like I didn't feel like I could get high. So what I'm trying to get to is after 8 days, I had heard I heard helicopters. I heard the paramedics. I heard the SWAT team show up. They kicked open the front door. The ambulance came down the hallway. I literally can hear it today. They came down the hallway with a stretcher. My brother, my mother, my girlfriend at the time, they were outside of my bedroom door arguing with the paramedics saying, we got to go in there. He's fucking going to die. And my mother was saying, no, just leave him alone. He's dead. Just like leave him be. And my brother was aggressively arguing with the paramedics to try to get into the room. And I remember the paramedics took the stretcher and I could hear them like lift up the stretcher. And they said, on 3, we're going to kick this door in and we're going to go in and try and revive him. And they counted to 2. I fucking kicked the door open. And I was standing in a hallway by myself in my underwear. Like nobody was there. I had hallucinated all of it. And it was that day, which is literally tattooed on my knuckles. It was that day. It was, in my opinion, it was a spiritual awakening saying, listen, Eric, like you're facing down the barrel of a death sentence right here. You either fucking change or your next step is death. And at the time I was 28, I was 35 pounds. I had burnt all my eyelashes. My eyebrows were completely burnt. Both my cheeks had blisters on them because I was smoking crack out of a socket on a stove that had a flame because I didn't have a lighter. So I had to get so close to the stove to light the dope where I was literally fucking burning myself. So I had $8 left to my name, and it was just enough to be able to catch a train from downtown Chicago back to my hometown in Rockford. And I knew none of my family, like my immediate family, I knew none of them would open the door for me if I came back. But my aunt, which knew I had a problem. I jumped on I had a pint of vodka, just enough to slam it and get the courage to walk outside and face reality. So I slammed this pint of vodka and I walked to this train station. I got on the train. I made it back to Rockford, Illinois. And my aunt was waiting there for me at the train station. And I was a fucking absolute wreck, man. She didn't know what to do with me. And at this point, like, I didn't want to die. I had made the decision, like, I did not want to die anymore. Because prior to that, I fucking, all I wanted to do was die. Like, I did not care to be alive anymore. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel a part of. I knew at that time I was just a piece of shit. And like, nobody wanted to be around me. Everybody disowned me. And my aunt opened the door for me. She brought me into her house. And I had a friend that had actually gotten clean, and I didn't know he was clean. And I called him up, I was still kind of confused. Like, I called him up, not knowing maybe we were going to get high together. And when I called him, he was like, bro, I got fucking 3.5 years clean. He's like, you need to get your shit together. He goes, why don't you come stay with me for 30 days? I don't think your aunt's is the place you need to be. So he took me in for 30 days. He flew me down to Fort Lauderdale. I had 60 days of treatment still left in my insurance through the union. Like, hand to God, I don't know how I still had insurance. But this treatment center, I flew down there. I checked myself into this treatment center, and they're like, well, when was the last time you used drugs? And it had been 29 days since I had used, because my friend allowed me to stay with him, and he was keeping me clean. And they're like, well, usually people that come to treatment, they have to be like literally just coming off of drugs. You got 30 days clean. And I'm like, listen, I don't know like what your requirements are to get in here, but I can assure you I fucking meet all of them. Like, just let me stay because I have nowhere else to go. So they let me stay there for 60 days. And I'm 28. I don't have a license. My fucking license is revoked in 2 different states. I got 4 DUIs, 5 driving on suspendeds. A family that I know at this point in time does not have my back at all. They didn't have the hope that I could actually get clean. And when I got out of treatment, I was faced with fucking reality where, like, I'm obviously heavily tattooed. I'm in South Florida. The only job I've ever done has been a union carpenter for an extended period of time. There's no unions in South Florida. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do now? Like, I was going to restaurants to try to get jobs. I was everywhere I went. They're like, listen, we have a no tattoo policy. And that immediately cut me off from fucking like anybody hiring me. I have very visible tattoos. The unions in South Florida, it's not a union state. So like, you can get a fucking truck full of Venezuelans or fucking Cubans down there, and they'll build a home for you in 24 hours for $6 an hour. Nothing against Venezuelans and Cubans. I'm just a fucking white man in a South Florida where like they don't hire guys like me for a good salary or a good rate. So I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. And long story short is my first job when I was in South Florida, I was bussing tables at a restaurant. I had to wear tattoo makeup. Like, that's all I thought I was worth at the time. I worked there for 2 weeks. I remember him fucking handing me my paycheck for 2 weeks. It was $146 for 2 weeks. My wife, which is my wife now, girlfriend at the time, she had picked me up, and I'm like, listen, this is fucking out of control. I'm going back home. I'm going to Chicago. And she's like, well, what's in Chicago for you? Like, your fucking family don't want you there. You don't have any friends there. She's like, why the fuck would you go back to Chicago? So at the time I was living in a halfway house. She, you know, I was riding buses all over. She would pick me up, drive me places. And she had dropped me off to my halfway house. And there was a fucking white piece of paper hanging on a door that said telemarketers wanted $15 an hour. And that piece of paper has forever changed my life. I fucking, that day, or a few days later, interview, I put a headset on my head for the first time to start selling. And for 13 years, that fucking headset's never came off my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Logan, there's not many times on this podcast where I've like actually been at a loss for words. Eric, thank you for going so freaking deep on that stuff and not holding back. I want to highlight someone. And I want to know from your take, from me in the way that you told things, it sounds like that friend who had been, clean for a few years. It sounded like if he didn't come in, I think it sounds like he saved your life.
Dude, there's a lot of key moments that if someone had not have been there, would I be where I'm at today? I don't fucking know. But there were a very few people that just hadn't given up yet.
Wow.
And every single one of them had every reason in the world to give up on me. I was a fucking piece of shit back in the day, man.
Go for it, Logan.
Yeah, go.
So Eric, yes, thank you for sharing that story. And the question I have is, I actually want you to kind of dive a little deeper into those first 29 days, because I think anyone out there who's struggling with whether it be an addiction to alcohol or drugs or anything else, like that transition point is always the hardest. So kind of explain like what you did in this first 29 days, some of the obstacles and struggles, and just share your experience with everybody who's listening here.
Yeah. So the first 29 days, and like my crack cocaine is, it's a mental fuckery, right? You don't go through the physical, you go through the mental fuckery. And, what did I have to do for 29 days? I had to completely change people, places, and things. Like I had to fucking get rid of everybody in my life. There were nights where, I shit you not, I would be in the shower on my hands and knees crying, just praying, fucking please do not go and use, don't go. So sometimes it was second to second. In those 29 days, I'd have like a good day where I didn't feel like using. But then there were those times where it took fucking everything I had to just not go pick up that one again. They say one is too many, 1,000 is never enough, and it's the fucking first one that gets you. And it was people, places, and things. And it was me understanding that I had a serious fucking problem. I am a complete drug addict through and through. I know today, if I were to pick a drug up, it would be a death sentence for me, because I'm still an addict, right? I may go off in I dive into my work. I'm a fucking workaholic, which is a lot better than being a drug addict. Yeah. But I'm an addict through and through, and I know that today.
And so those first 29 days you were with your friend who which made him qualified to help you, which was that he was previously an addict and he got clean. And then as you went into the treatment center, what was the mentality start to shift? Like obviously you were set on going to that treatment center. Like you needed it deep in your heart. You knew you needed to be there. What was that? What was the shift that happened there over the next 60 days that helped you, again, the next level of your transition from being on drugs to moving into this sober lifestyle?
So one, I made the decision I didn't want to fucking die, right? Sure. And I always say this, nobody in my family could have helped me. ultimately we all have to hit a bottom. They say when the pain gets great enough is when we'll make a change. For me, the pain was literally me facing death. So I went into treatment and I started just like for the first time, and as crazy as this fucking sounds, like they bus us from treatment and we go to these outside meetings. So I would go to NA meetings all the time, right? I was heavily involved with NA, but for the first time, like I'd walk outside and I was like, holy fucking shit, the sky is super blue. And I'd see trees and I'm like, man, look at the way I just started seeing life. And I'm like, and I wasn't the one walking around with my head like this, like eventually my head started getting up there, right? And like I was walking around with my head up. And it was just like life, man. I started seeing life for the first time at 28 years old because I lived in a dark fucking world for years. And there's this cliche where they say, if do it for 90 days, and if you aren't happy with the way you feel or the results, your misery will happily be refunded to you. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to give this a shot for 90 days. And when I say like what changed, 100% people, places, and things. Like those were the biggest things I had to change. Who I was hanging out with, where I was hanging out, and what I was doing when I was hanging out. Like you hang out at the barbershop fucking long enough, you're going to get your hair cut, man. You hang out with drug addicts long enough, you're going to do dope.
Yeah.
So people's, places, things. But I feel like there was at least a few constants in there, and I want to highlight one specifically. And this has been a theme with some guest speakers who've gone into some dark times in their lives. And the reality is, in order to get away from the dark times, like you said, they have to change their settings or surroundings to really kind of have a fresh start. But one thing we always see is there's a few constant anchors. And I think for you, at the time she was your girlfriend, I had the honor of meeting her. Your wife now. Is another phenomenal human being. Can you tell us about how, I mean, for her to, you said this, there were members of your family who had given up on you.
All of them.
And then for a girlfriend to look at her boyfriend and say, he's in a halfway house, he's a recovering drug addict, he's one, hit away from just biting the bullet. I mean, that takes a lot of loyalty from her. Yeah. I mean, can you please tell us a little bit about like how that relationship has gone? I mean, there's got to be, talk about trial and tribulation in a relationship.
Yeah. So my wife today, Shyla, 3 days prior to me getting out of treatment, again, they would put us in these white vans. They call them druggy buggies, right? They load us all up in these white vans. You got a bunch of fucking people that are trying to kick dope or, just out of their minds. You get out of one of these vans and it's nothing against, it's like you're walking off the short bus, dude. Like you are fucking you're with some peaches. And so they would bring us to these meetings, these NA meetings. And there was these two girls that would be there all the time. And you're locked in a treatment center full of guys. Now I'm not 35 pounds anymore. I fucking gained like 30 pounds in a matter of 30 days just because I'm eating now. And so I'm starting to feel good about myself and shit. And I'm 60 days clean. Fucking it. Her and her friend were showing up at these meetings. And I was like, man, who the fuck are these hot lesbians? I thought they were like, her and her friend were lesbians. Nothing against lesbians. I was just like, fucking look at these hot lesbians. And the next night, Shyla, my wife, she comes up to me and her and I start talking. And from I shit you not, from the second we started talking, it just flowed so smoothly, right? And the day I got out of treatment, she picked me up. Wow. Again, I'm fucking dead broke. I ain't got a lick of shit to my name. She picked me up. We start hanging out. We've been together ever since that day. But she believed in me way longer or well before I ever believed in myself. And she was the first person when I got clean that gave me the confidence, like, no, you can fucking do this. You can do that. Like, I even say it today, man. She is my biggest cheerleader. Like of anybody, she stands behind me. Half the time my fucking ideas are so off the wall. Without her like pulling me back, I'd fucking run into a lot of brick walls. She helps protect me because I'm all over the place half the time. But she's my fucking rock, dude.
Dude, that's amazing. We've chatted about this in previous origin stories about the first follower, and Shyla, your wife, is definitely like your first follower, somebody who believed in you before you believed in yourself, and definitely before any of us saw who you are today. Like your wife saw that well before, right? And I think that's so important. Anybody out there who's listening to go find that person who is your first follower, because as much confidence as you see like the three of us have here today, that first follower is what really is the catalyst for that. And it's the one who like talks out of our crazy thoughts, our crazy ideas. And honestly, like we are the hardest critics on ourselves, and having our Shylas are the ones that allow us to actually be able to share our message, because we're out there doing the work and putting ourselves in a position to be successful that we can eventually share our message. So thank you so much for Shyla for believing in Eric, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be on the podcast today.
Okay, I have to start getting to this stuff, because one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on is that you're a freaking closer. You're a closer through and through, and you're a salesman through and through. And I've seen, just on following you on social media and seeing the content that you put out, it's not even content. It is true sales value, because you're talking about things that people charge a lot of money to talk about, and you're doing it for free. And I'm like, ooh, he's pissing off a lot of people doing that. He's giving out people's whole courses for $5,000. He's doing it on IG stories right now. Yeah. But you said that, you were going back to I think it was your halfway home, and there was basically a flyer that might have been a godsend in that moment, looking back at it, for telemarketing, which is basically, and I've seen you, man, like you do the headsets. I just have the old phone. But I want to know on how you became the monster at sales that you are.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. A lot of hard work. I will say that. I always start by saying, I believe anybody can be taught sales. Like, this is not something you are naturally born and gifted with. I'm a firm believer of that. And the reason is that when I saw that flyer at 28, I was insecure. I had social anxiety. I could not hold an intelligent conversation with fucking anybody. And the job that I took, went into training. After 2 weeks of training, they put me on the floor to be just a cold caller. And it's a fucking great story. They say you want to mirror the person you're on the phone with, right? And after 2 weeks of training, they throw me on the floor, and I get on the phone with this guy from Hawaii. I don't know what we were selling. We did debt consolidation, credit repair, ADT home alarm systems, auto warranties. So I don't know what campaign I was on at the time, but I get on the phone with this Hawaiian dude, and he's like, "Hey, brother," like talking Hawaiian and shit, right? And me not knowing, there was another class listening to all the new people. And I'm like, shit, they said mirror them. And I'm like, "Hey, brother, you need an auto warranty." And fucking the manager comes hauling ass, rips my headset off my head. And he's like, "You either fucking go home or you get back in training for 2 weeks." And fucking, I marched my ass right back into the training, dude. Went through another 2-week training. And the company that I was with, they had 200 plus closers. It was a massive fucking company. And I was a fronter for 3, 4, 5 months. I don't know exactly how long. But within a year and a half, I became their top closer of 200 people. And I say this, it was not that I was the best in there, because I wasn't. I think of guys that I worked around in that first year and a half. They were fucking monsters. They just didn't have a good work ethic. They were lazy. And I was the guy that would be standing there with my lunchbox in my hand, waiting for somebody to open the door. Like I was the first one there and I was the last one to leave for a year and a half. And my work ethic superseded all the talent that was in that building. Like I just fucking outworked every single one of them. And then listen, you get enough reps in, you're going to start getting good. I've only sold over the telephone. I've never done face-to-face sales at any level. So all of my money has been made over the telephone. The reason I got good on the phone, I'm a heavily tattooed guy. I got fucking tattoos on my hands. I was very insecure. So what I got really good at is hiding behind a phone, and I could be whoever the fuck I wanted to be. And I just, listen, it's, I'm blessed. I still, today I learn the first business I ever started. I fucking started it out of a bedroom and I took it from zero to over $30 million a year in gross sales. I owned the largest timeshare exit company in the United States. That was the first business I ever started. I had 150 team members all under one roof. 100 of them were in my call center. We would operate that motherfucker from 9 in the morning till 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was a well-oiled machine. I was getting ready to sell that business, 51% of it for $54 million. And long story short, I ended up getting sued, lost the business after 2.5 years of lawsuits. And I stand here today rebuilding.
So, Eric, talk about that transition from working at your telemarketing position to when you got this idea like, hey, like I can do a business myself. I have the skill sets to go do my own thing. Like how long was that and what was that process look like?
Yep. It took 1.5 years, and it wasn't that I thought I could do it. Well, it was that I thought I could do it by myself. But when the light bulb went off, it was, holy shit, I care about this guy's company more than he cares about it.
Yeah.
That was the light bulb moment for me. And I was like, and it wasn't if this guy can do it, I could do it, but fuck, I just cared more than him. Like I cared what the other people in there were doing. I cared what I was doing. I saw the way he would interact and just the I don't give a shit attitude. And I'm like, I can do this. For the first time in my life, I was like, holy shit, I'm like, I can do this. And it was just confidence, man. I'm not good at a lot of things. Like, I am a firm believer. You get really good at one or two things and you can fucking dominate it. I'm good at selling. I'm really good at selling. And I'm good at trying to surround myself with people that can do things better than I can. I'm real fucking good at selling, and I believe I'm good at leading a team.
That's awesome. And so describe us what this first company was. You touched on a little bit, did timeshares, but how did you decide to go from telemarketing where you were doing lots of products to diving into, it sounds like one specific type of product that you were selling?
I met a guy that knew a guy, and he said, hey man, there's this business model where you get people out of timeshares. I was like, cool, I'm going to start a business getting people out of timeshares. I had a stack of leads on a piece of paper and a cordless phone back in 2012. And I sat in a bedroom and I started calling. I didn't even fucking know what a timeshare was. I started calling timeshare owners saying, hey, you want out of your timeshare? I can help you out of it. Had no clue how to get somebody out of a timeshare. Not a clue. But I would get them to say yes. And then I went and found someone that knew how to get people out of timeshares. And it took us about 1.5 years. And then we ended up controlling everything. We were like, we were all in-house. We generated all of our own leads. We fulfilled all of our own services. Like, After 9.5 years, we had a fucking really well-oiled machine.
That's awesome. And then I've heard you talk about this in previous podcasts, previous things, that you built this thing up and you were getting ready to sell it, and you just kind of alluded to it earlier. You got into, sounds like a legal battle. Kind of explain that process and what led you to the point where you're like, hey, I have something I can sell. What kind of watched that process? Like, this would be awesome to exit this business, and then kind of what ended up happening for it to not end up getting exited.
Yeah. So, had no clue about selling a business. Had never even heard of it before. Mind you, I went from fucking smoking dope to working in a call center for a year and a half to starting my own business. This is now 31 years old, 28, 29. I'm like, what, 30 years old? Fucking, still trying to get my shit together, right? And we start this business out of a bedroom. It fucking takes off like wildfire. And I start making a boatload of fucking money. When I say a boatload, dude, at the peak of this business, I was netting, not grossing. I was netting between 6 to 8 million a year. So I was fucking, for a guy that just put the crack pipe down, and now I'm fucking raking in millions of dollars, dude, I was out of my mind. I'm fucking driving fucking Rolls Royces, got so much gold hanging off me, I can't even fucking walk straight. I mean, dude, like literally out of my mind. And I was getting a mortgage on a $7 million home. And the guy that was doing my mortgage, he's like, bro, your fucking business model is out of control, crazy, awesome. He's like, have you ever thought about selling this thing? And I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Selling my business? And he's like, dude, let me structure selling this business for you. And I promise I'll put a boatload of money in your pocket. And I'm like, cool, done. And so he ended up getting a broker involved. We spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars structuring the business the right way, setting up all of our trust accounts to get ready for this influx of fucking millions and millions of dollars. And when they first sent our packet out to private equity firms, they only sent it out to 300 private equity firms. We had gotten a total of, I think, 12 offers in, and they narrowed it down to 3. The biggest offer that we got, which it never ended up going through, but it was still an amazing fucking experience, is we had gotten an offer for $142 million for 100% of the business. And dude, just to even have someone say that, I was like, I'm getting goosebumps literally today. Even though I lost the fucking business, it was the experience of holy shit, I was a part of this. Like, I was a massive part of this. This fucking thing started in my bedroom, and now I got private equity firms. Fucking, 3 of them were fighting over us. But 60 days before the deal were to go through, they had done all their due diligence. They did their financial due diligence, everything. They were going to retain me to stay on for, I think it was like 1.5 to 2 years to continue to run the sales floor. And 60 days before the deal was going to be done, I ended up getting sued by the largest timeshare company in the world. I'm not going to get into details. It's part of my settlement. And then 30 days later, I got fucking hit with another lawsuit. After the first one, the private equity firm was like, hey, we're good with that lawsuit. We'll still close on this deal. After the second one came through, they're like, we're going to back off. We're not going to close on the deal. After you fight the lawsuits, go ahead and let us know when it's done. And my insurance on the business was not covering my lawsuits. I was paying it out of pocket. And my attorney bills at the heat of the battle were $500,000 a month.
Wow.
And I wanted my life back, and I told my wife, I'm like, fuck. A wise man told me when my lawsuit first started, he was the only billionaire that I knew and had a dialogue and a relationship with. And he said, Eric, you lost that fucking fight before it ever started. He said, they're either going to take your money in the lawsuit or they're going to take your money in a settlement, but fucking you're going to give them what they're looking for. It's just a matter of how do they get it. So I ended up settling that lawsuit a few years back for millions of dollars, just to get my life back. And then took about a year and a half off. I was really fucking lost. Didn't know where I was going to go or what I was going to do. When I had my business, guys like Grant Cardone would come to, I never asked to speak on people's stages. I was never like a fucking guru or anything like that. I was just building a business, minding my own business. And Grant Cardone would have me speak on his 10X stages. He would have me come to his boot camps and speak at his sales boot camps. And when my business was no longer there, the phone stopped ringing. A lot of people stopped reaching out to me, and it fucked with my head. Because that, as crazy as this sounds, that business was me, and I was that business. I didn't, in my head, I didn't have my own identity. So just 3 years ago, at 38 years old, I'm 41 today, I was a fucking lost soul. Like I went from making millions and millions of dollars to getting my revenue stream shut off. I had, just from my own personal residences, I had fucking over $11 million in real estate that me and my wife lived in. I had fucking, you build a lifestyle up like that. What I didn't think about is if this faucet ever gets turned off, will I be okay? And that fucking happened overnight. So I went from making millions of dollars to fucking, thank God when we settled, me and my wife settled with money. Thank God. She was smarter than I was, right? She kept us, long story short, we settled, still walked away with millions of dollars, but not enough to say, I'm never going to fucking work again. Like if I went and moved to the middle of fucking nowhere, we could make the money last, but that's not what I want to do. And so for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, what am I going to do now? Like, I didn't know what to do with myself. And a year and a half went on. I went through a depression. And I remember on a Wednesday, I tried some other businesses. They worked out, but they didn't have my heart. And I believe if you love what you do, you'll never have to work again. And I felt like I was going to fucking work. And I'm like, man, I fucking hate working. I want to love what I do. I say that to say this. The fucking wholesaling industry has brought the fire back for me. I love wholesaling, has lit a fire under my ass that I have not felt in years. I love it. I have a passion for it. It's what I love. It's selling. It's raw. I get to have a fucking headset on my head. But more importantly, there's a lot of people out there that I know today that I can help impact them. I can help them with my experience from fucking dope to success, to crash, to success, and being able to make it through all that. Like I've earned my seat as a fucking guy that can tell somebody how to do something.
Yeah, dude, that's freaking amazing. And so let's actually talk about that. So after you settled with some cash, which allowed you a little bit of flexibility to, sounds like, experiment with a couple businesses that didn't quite fit your personality, didn't quite fit your vision.
Yeah.
What was it about wholesaling, or who was it that introduced you that would like, man, like this is something that I can freaking crush and I can do really well at? And what about that resonated with you so much?
It was a guy in Orlando, a buddy of mine in Orlando introduced me to the industry. And it was, this model is so similar to my timeshare exit model. It blew my fucking mind. they're like, Eric, you got to do this. They were telling me for a year, you got to get into the space. You'll fucking crush it. You got to get into the space. You'll crush it. And I'm like, nah, I'm doing these other things. And it was one night, man. It was fucking, I don't even know what time it was. I'm like, I'm gonna do this wholesale thing. So when I got into the model, I'm like, holy shit, lead generation, phone sales, fulfillment. My last business was lead generation, phone sales, fulfillment. And I did it at a fucking massive scale. Like, dude, we were pumping out 650 contracts a month, doing over $3 million a month all over the phone. And I was like, I think I'm going to be really good at this. So I took my exact process. Literally, I had my own custom built CRM. I had been building for fucking 10 years, transferred it all to wholesaling. I took my timeshare script, transferred it to wholesaling, took my exact sales process, transferred it to wholesaling, and dude, hit the fucking ground running. Like, it was crazy. The first 4 months, I did nothing but lock deals up, farm my deal out to somebody else. Didn't even care to make $1. I swear to you, I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, let me figure out the sales process. I was paying 35% to dispo all my deals. I was recklessly spending in marketing. Day one, I think I had like 15 fucking VAs pumping leads to just me. Like, I had no clue what I was doing. I forgot what it was like to start a business day one for one. So I have all these leads coming in, don't know what to do. I'm fucking swimming in like all these leads. And dude, it actually took me like 17 days to fucking get my first deal. As good as I think I am, dude, 17 days went by and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I thought I was good at this shit. Dude, first one popped. It was lights out, dude.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that when you started that you were the sole closer, dude, with 15 VAs producing cold call leads. Oh my God.
Dude, it was stupid.
Oh my God. Like, that's, so you're not putting that headset down at all. You're not, it's just constant. Every day is just follow-up task, follow-up task, follow-up task. 17 days to get the first one. I know you just recently wrapped your guys' first 12 months. I know people want to know, in your first 12 months of wholesaling, how much did you end up doing?
So the first 4 months, I don't count the first 4 months. I really don't. And the reason I say that is I was farming out every single deal. Like, so my first 4 months, we didn't have a real operation. It was me just figuring out, hey, is this a model that I'm going to bring my wife in on? And then ultimately Tony, my other partner, my best friend, I'm like, so for 4 months, after 4 months, I was able to generate in just 4 months. And I didn't have a fucking clue what wholesaling was. It took me 4 months. I was able to get closed and funded $100,000. So it took me 4 months to do that. And our first 14 months to date, we are just over, I'll literally tell you right now, we are just over, we have 134 contracts we've assigned and closed on, and we've done 3,107,000. Yeah. And wow. I'm still trying to, we're still trying to figure out wholesaling, dude. But what we know how to do is get a lead and lock it up.
So, oh my God, when I first met Tony, because I think I met Tony before I met you, and you know, it was very nice. It was actually at like this little barbecue in a backyard, and then he was just like cutting everyone slices of cake, and then I was talking to him, and I'm like getting to know him a little bit, and he just mentioned that, you know, you guys at the time, I think it had just crushed like $2.5 million, and then he was like, yeah, you know, like 10, 11, 12 months, 2.5 million while he's cutting cake, and I'm like, oh, that's really what?
Yeah.
What? in your first, like, you guys are this new to this industry and that's what you guys have done. And I told Tony right then and there, there was another friend with me and I looked at him and I'm like, you ever met someone and they make you just realize that you're not doing enough in life? But it was, I mean, brother, oh my God, for a guy who's experienced the lowest of the lows, right? To, like you said, when you lost a timeshare company, you kind of felt like you lost your purpose because you had poured so much of yourself into it. You lost, you know, when you were an addict, you lost everything, probably financially and spiritually and everything. But when you lose your business that you've spent so much time pouring into, you lose an essence of yourself that just is so different. And to me, as an outsider looking in, it really sounds like you found that purpose again in this space. And the fact that you've thrived so much in 14 months, over 3 million. Yeah. Oh my God. Congrats. Yeah. Absolutely. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Tony's sitting right here.
Is it? Can he say hi? Like, how is he?
What up?
Tony.
What's happening, guys?
Brother, it is so good to see you.
You too, man. Thanks for always reaching out on Instagram and staying in touch, dude. Appreciate it.
Always. When there's good people that you have to keep around in close proximity, right? Proximity is power. You two are 100% people that, like, whether you like it or not, you guys, I'm not letting you stray off too far because your guys' energy is just phenomenal. Okay, so wow, 3.5, and I know this was the goal to hit 5 million this year.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that you guys are going to hit it.
That's the goal, man. Listen, we're all in a funky fucking place right now. What pivots have we made to keep up with the changes, right? We've just added novations, which I think is going to be a game changer. And we've are doing seller finance. Mm-hmm. Yep. So wholesaling's great, but listen, man, you don't want to be a one-trick pony. And this is why I've had the faucet cut off once before, right? If you don't learn from the past and you keep making the same fucking mistakes, like, I won't make the mistake again of having one fucking revenue stream and counting on that, because shit can happen. When life shows up, shit happens and you don't know when it's going to show up, how it's going to show up. But life can change overnight, and I just never want to be in that place again where I'm depending on one source of income to take care of my family and I.
Wow. You know, you posted about this recently, I think just a few days ago on Instagram, about the fact that you want to start buying rentals, or buying more at least, and you were mainly looking at the North Carolina area. And I love the fact that because I read it, you mentioned that you were doing cash and creative. And as a creative finance specialist, because my mentor is Pace Morby, and this guy Logan right here, I was kind of in that shoe where I'm still so fresh in this space. I haven't even hit my 9-month mark in this space yet. And I've been so hammer focused on, like, being a closer, closing wholesale deals. And then now it's like, with this downturn that we're coming up on, understanding that you can make millions and millions and millions. Wholesaling is phenomenal, but if that faucet gets turned off, it's not going to turn on again. You have to rebuild it. That's going to take a lot of time. Nothing will replace building real wealth through owning real estate. And the fact that you're doing it through creative finance, it's a massive freaking win.
Yeah, well, we're trying to learn it, right? We're
figuring it out.
We're figuring it out. Yeah, dude, we want to build, not just a wholesale operation.
Dude, we got you. Logan and I got you. Creative finance is like,
creative finance.
That's all we do. I'm never gonna buy a property for cash.
Yeah,
bro.
No cash, conventional, none of that. Nope. Creative finance only.
Dude, I will turn you into a monster if you can help me understand these numbers,
bro. Okay, it's done. It's done. We'll connect right after this, but 100% it's done. And it's so wait, this actually blows my mind. One of the things that helps with me and my team in conversions is having so many tools in the tool belts, like Novations, like creative finance, whether it's sub-2, seller finance, this thing called the Morby method, which is super complicated, but it works so well. This guy, Logan's been crushing a few of those deals on some multifamily recently. But the fact that you guys did those numbers and you guys weren't pitching novations, weren't pitching creative. You were doing that straight cash.
Dude, we've assigned we have a couple properties, but it's not worth talking about, right? Just because we've wholesaled so many. Dude, we were 100%. Deal comes in, locks up, assigned, no matter what. Does not matter. We assigned it. So we were actually sitting yesterday talking about all these massive wholesale fees that we were getting, and we're like, that was so fucking stupid.
Dude, we lost money this last year.
Oh, dude, it's sexy, but I don't know who the audience is, right? But get in, make a little bit of money, get some cash flow going from the wholesale operation, pivot quick and start. It's not sexy to get a $50,000 to $100,000 assignment fee if you have the ways and means to buy that property. Like,
Absolutely.
We've made the conscious decision where we're going to look at every property on how do we buy that, not get rid of it.
I love that. Freaking love that. That makes me super excited. And this is one of the reasons why I had my first ever, and I'm like a solopreneur, kind of just grinding it out in the trenches. I had my first ever 6-figure month at the beginning of this year, and it was amazing through wholesale. It was phenomenal. I was super stoked. But when you're reinvesting into the business in wholesaling, because guys, if you guys are new to this industry, you guys will realize that wholesaling, it's kind of just a hamster wheel that keeps turning. And if you want to do better at it, you keep pumping money into it. So those gigantic checks that come in, they go away just as fast. And Logan was such a phenomenal he's been a big brother and a mentor to me for this. We have this deal in Henderson. It's the deal from hell, like it always is when it's a good deal. And I could have sold it for $100,000 net to Open Door. But it's in Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Vegas. And if put it on Airbnb, it's going to make a few $1,000s. It's going to build the net worth. It's going to provide stability for me and my future family for the rest of my life. So guys, the answer is this. Wholesaling is super sexy. It's a great way to get in. I love it. I first and foremost am a wholesaler right now. But the second that you can start building wealth, you need to do it not just for your own sake, but for your families. Like the stability that it's going to allow you to provide for your wife and your kids and your future generations. I mean, the wholesaling company, for you guys just started, 14, 15 months ago?
Yes, we're fresh, bro.
So fresh. It could go away at any moment if you decide this is just not what you want to do anymore. But those properties that you own, if you guys get into giant multifamilies, into tons of Airbnbs, and you own them all creatively, your legacy is going to be set. I'm so stoked to hear that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Logan, you are muted, brother.
Yeah, what is your guys' goal? So we talked about it a little bit. You guys are starting to see the writing on the wall, making obviously the market shifting, adding another tool bait, putting rentals in there as a way to create some stability. But you guys have this monster, right? So obviously, like keep that thing going. Add some rentals on top of that. What else? What else are you guys looking to do? What else are you guys trying to add? What else do you guys see? Kind of shares with us. What is your vision, Eric and Tony as well?
Yeah. So we're actually getting ready to move from where we're at. We're in 2,000 square feet. We're getting ready to move into 6,000 square feet here within probably 90 days. So the market doesn't scare us. We are going to expand our business. We are going to, Tony, I'll let him speak on his, but I have my sales training has taken on a fucking life of its own. It is, it's turned into its own business, which is amazing. I see a massive hole in this industry where people need true sales training with a process that can be implemented into their business, where it's duplicatable and scalable. That's what I bring to the wholesale industry. I've yet to see somebody, there's other trainers out there. I just haven't seen one that teaches it like I do, where they fucking break it down, where you can throw a monkey in a chair, and as long as the monkey understands it, it could close deals for you. Wow. So it's just it's sales 101, and then we're focusing. I mean, we want to focus on building a portfolio. We're trying to find out what direction we really want to go with that.
Yeah, obviously trying to figure out an asset class that we want. We're in the beginning stages of that, but just like Eric does the sales training, I do dispo training. I've done 2 classes of dispo training with total of 70 people in it, which it happened at the beginning of this year. I was at an all-in mastermind, and all these I spoke for a little bit in front of the group, and all these people were coming up to me after I spoke, and they were like, man, can I jump on a call with you so you can teach me your dispo process? And then by the third or fifth person that asked me that, I was like, well, shit, let's just all jump on a Zoom and I'll just teach a class. So that first class actually just is like a 3-hour class, like a one-time thing on Zoom, and there was like 100 people on it. And then I actually structured like a 3-week course, and I did that twice. And now I'm putting together a course on video that I can actually give to the public, since every time I do one of these classes, everybody's like, man, can I pay you for the recordings? And I'm like, well, why don't I just record everything, and then I can just, have it as a package I can sell. So that's my goal this year. And then obviously with our bigger office, we're going to grow our team. We're going to really structure this wholesale business. So we're not, Eric's on the phones all day today. I'm on the phones all day. Eric's still logging up deals. I'm still on the phone dispoing deals. Like we're still doing the shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to, really structure our business so we can put all of our time and efforts into building portfolios.
Yeah.
And so for the people out there who are watching, like, hey, like I resonate with you, Eric and Tony, like I want to be part of your guys' business. Like, what is the best way for them to connect with you? And are they connecting with you to like be on your sales team, or are they connecting with you to go through your trainings? Like, what is like, is it either or? Like, tell us a little about what, like, how do people reach out to you? And then like, what do they, like, what do you have to offer them?
Yeah. So I don't know if everyone can see that, but that's private chat.
That's okay.
You can find me on Instagram at the Eric Cline. You can put Tony on there as well.
Tony_Mont.
And then hey, if there's someone that's looking to join our team for acquisitions, we're hiring for everything. Sorry, I don't know where you're at. But if you are good at closing, we're hiring for closers as we speak. If you want to become an amazing closer, I have a sales training that's coming up August 16th. It starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's for 6 weeks with me personally. It's not pre-recorded yet. So this one will be with me on a Zoom. It's limited to 40 spots. I think I have 10 left. It's $2,500 a seat for the 6-week sales training. If anybody I don't know how many people are on here, but if anyone from this joins, I'll give you a $250 discount.
Yeah. Amazing. Dude, it's such a freaking good deal. Like
I'm giving it away,
amazing.
bro.
As much, seriously. At the same time, still making people commit to actually like pulling their wallets out, but ultimately that's giving it away for all. What you just told us, all the millions of dollars and all the sales training, all the reps, like it's giving it away. That's amazing.
Not to mention, this is the first time I'm giving my entire fucking script away with it. That script alone, I should charge $100,000 for.
Yeah, and for anybody out there who's like, man, I don't have $2,500, then go freaking DM this guy and say, hey, I'm willing to work for you, right? Get paid to learn that freaking script, right? Go put the work in, go put the effort in. Like either way, like if you're motivated and you want to go work for somebody, you want to go learn the process, whether you have money or not have money, like he's giving you 2 ways to go learn from, honestly, probably one of the smartest people that we've had on this, our show about freaking sales just in general. We've had some pretty smart dudes on here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do have, as we wrap up, I do have one question, and I was meaning to ask this. I want to know, what is the story behind the bat that you have? Look at Tony. Tony's looking around for it right now.
It's over here.
But the thing is we have them everywhere. There's bats everywhere. This one was given to me by a guy in my last sales training. Make your own luck. So, like something I teach in my class, right? This closing deals over the phone consistently for a long period of time, it wears on you, man. It wears on you. And you have to do shit that's going to keep your blood flowing. Whatever that, like all of our closers outside of one They have stand-up desks. They all got wireless fucking headsets. I carry a bat around just for the simple fact it's in your hand and you can swing it around. You're doing like your body's moving. Motion creates motion, right? Like it gets you going. You just sit in a fucking chair all day trying to pound out these numbers. Before you even know it, you're a fucking piece of shit. But you don't even know it. Like you don't know it, but you wonder, man, I'm not fucking closing any deals. I'm not that well. If you heard yourself on the other end, it sounds like you're fucking answering the phone on the couch with your fucking thumb in your butt. Like, so this is just a reason to stand up and keep moving, man. And before I knew it, everyone knew me for having a bat in my hand. So now it's just the thing. Now I gotta have a fucking bat in my hand.
Yeah, it's on the IG post. Well, so for one, we do a lot of sales trainings in sub 2, and one of the things that we always talked about with people who were very kind of monotone and a little bit low energy on the phones was try standing up. Try walking around a little bit when you're talking to sellers, and you'll find that you will fluctuate more. You're going to have different tonalities and pitches, and it's actually going to come across the phone with more energy. But yeah, every time I saw you with a bat, I was like, he's walking around his salespeople. He's got a bat in his head, and I wonder if this is how you keep your team motivated.
I'm fucking crapping, dude.
Dude,
listen, I say this: you would never go into a fight sitting down. You go into a fight standing up. We are fighting against every other person that's called these people. The hardest part about our job is every phone call that seller got prior to them ever picking the phone up for me. That's the hard part of my job, is cleaning up the mess the other guys have left for me to clean up. Having an intelligent conversation, letting them know I'm there to have a genuine conversation with them. Letting them know by the end of this phone call, I promise you I'm going to give you everything I promised you at the beginning of the phone call. Like, this industry has destroyed these sellers, and we need to be grateful we need to be grateful they're still picking the fucking phone up for us, because we all know they're getting between 1 to 5 phone calls a day. Where are you at in that day when they pick what number are you in the day of phone calls that they've gotten? Are you number 1 or are you number 5? And that's going to be the attitude of the seller that you're dealing with. If you're number 1, you might have caught them on a good day. If you're 5, you better be fucking ready to deal with that seller, but still be grateful they picked the phone up.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So Eric, we have a question here from the audience, and I love, like, this is probably going to resonate with you very much. And so Mason says, as a broke 21-year-old just getting into real estate with my parents almost giving up on me, like, what advice do you have for someone who is young, someone maybe who doesn't have their first follower yet, like you had with Shiloh? Like what's the advice you give to Mason here?
Learn sales, brother, and just know you got guys like us in your corner, right? We're the fucking misfits. We are the I know what you are going through at 21. And as long as you don't give up on yourself, you got a shot, man. As soon as you give up on yourself, fucking all bets are off. Get around good people. Your family may not be the ones that support you, right? It may be somebody else. I'm telling you, you got guys like me that are here for you.
Well, just, what I like to say too is, me and Eric aren't special. It's just, we work really hard. You're wearing a suit and tie in your picture. You're in a better spot at 21 than we were, for sure. I was sitting in jail and Eric was smoking crack. So if we can pull ourselves out of it, you're going to be just fine. So just remember that. Nobody else is too special. You just got to work hard and stay consistent.
Yep.
Wow. Guys, Eric, Tony, I didn't think Tony would be here, but I'm so
we got a 2-for-1 today. Look at that.
I know we got a 2-for-1. This is a massive win to me. Guys, thank you guys for your time, right? Time, in my opinion, is the most important asset that we have. And the fact that you guys decided to spend, over an hour here with us, sharing your stories, being open and vulnerable with things that are not very comfortable to talk about. It's inspiring. And like we talked about in the beginning, the whole point of this podcast is to highlight these stories because these stories need to be heard more. So to both of you, thank you so much. Eric, you took us to a freaking roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see, we've seen where you've been. We've seen what you've had to go through. I can't wait to see where you're going because it's going to be amazing to watch. And just know, as far as creative finance is concerned, Logan and I got you. We're there.
Bro, I got you. You guys help us. Listen, I'll throw you guys in the next sales training if you get us up to speed with creative. And I promise you my sales training will help you get more creative deals.
Done.
So
it's done. All right. Guys, Logan, go ahead and wrap it up, brother.
Yes. No, Eric, thank you so much. Tony, thank you for propping up here as well. And I'm sure you were on here at the beginning. So again, thank you for sticking around and being part of this. Sam, thank you for making this connection. This was really like one of the most interactive origin stories we've had and one of the most exciting ones. And Eric, thank you for going through that and being so transparent, being so vulnerable. I know like I know you told the story before now, but not everyone has that authenticity and that belief in themselves to share their deepest and darkest hour and be able to, share where they were at the top. And you've gone through multiple transitions and truly just like, thank you so much, because there's someone out there who is going through what you were going through at 28 years old, right? Where they were just on that cusp of, do I want to, am I going to freaking live? Right.
Yeah.
Am I even worthy of living? Is it even
Yep.
worth it? And hopefully you can just help one person, and even somebody who's not to that extreme levels. Like I resonated with you on just your work ethic and your determination and your ability to pick your ass off the freaking pavement when you get beat down, right? And get back up again. And you're enthusiastic. Your energy is so contagious. You have really good energy. It's why one of the reasons why you're a great salesperson is just because you have amazing energy, right? Tactically, obviously you know the tactics, but your energy is something that's very magnetic, very contagious. And I just super appreciate that. So guys, if you guys want to connect with Eric and Tony, again, their Instagram handles are down below. Go connect with them, whether it be for their sales training or whether it be or the dispo training, or reach out to them and they're hiring. So either way, like whether you have no money or you have money, like go reach out to these guys. So
yeah, if anyone that's on here, you have till tonight.
let's
I'm
go.
just letting you know. And use the DM me on my at the Eric Cline. Just put closer. DM me closer. That will get you your $250 off the training program. If you reach out to me tomorrow and ask for that, I'm going to clip you with $2,500. So discount's gone tonight.
Let's go. Hey,
right.
Take action. Take action. Eric, thanks so much. Tony, Sam, super appreciate you guys. Another episode of The Origin Story. We are out, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good to see you, Sam.